Hiya. Welcome to my Compound Life. I'm your host, Jonathan. Good to see you. If you stumble upon my video, please help me out, drop a like. Do follow me. I try to post as often as possible, giving you my point of view of what's going on in the market. When I say market, right, it will mainly be about Bitcoin, because I'm kind of in a phase where I'm trying to exit from most of my position, not all, because if you kind of watch back my previous video, there are positions that I'm very, very bullish on Bitcoin, that I'm holding the bag forever and ever, and hopefully pass that on to my children, my grandchildren, and so forth, right? But there's also another smaller bag. I call it the swing bag, where I would do buy low, sell high, and essentially, it becomes like a little bank, a little investment bank for Jonathan, or for my Compound Life, that I rely on for to fund off my lifestyle, right? So that's the situation. So now it's the 22nd of November. Bitcoin price barely hitting 85,000. No, barely hitting 80, 85, 84, 85, right? So whenever it slightly hits 85,000, I think it was yesterday, I think there was too much sell pressure, too many people selling. Immediately it drops back to about 82 or 83. So now it's hovering around 82, 83, 84,000, okay? Not looking great. I think what it's trying to do is to remain and hold this line, because what's happening out there right now is, if it doesn't hold, if it drops below 78,000, I think one Bitcoin company, right, strategy is gonna be in some deep trouble, right? So what's happening, I think, potentially, if Bitcoin price continue to drop, as we might be entering the bear market. So that's something you need to follow, right? Don't get frightened away because we're heading into a bear market, but treat bear market as an opportunity, right? That's where a lot more money can be made, right? You need to be brave. You need to stack up cash, like what I've been doing, right? And be ready to re-enter the market by next year, Q4, or November next year. So that's my timing, right? So personally, I'm trying to liquidate as much as possible, of course, at a better price. I've been taking profit throughout this cycle, right? When we're at 120, 126, 110, 116, and so forth. I've been constantly taking profit, and that's what I've always been telling you guys. Keep on taking profit, right? You will never be poor taking profit. You constantly take profit, so you always have some cash ready to redeploy, right? And that's what all of us needs to do, right? So we'll never be able to time the market, right? Trust me, you will never be able to time the market and exit at the high, or enter the lowest, right? We can only do so through pound cost average, or DCA, okay? So that's something to bear in mind. So coming back to that company that I've mentioned, Strategy, right? Or MicroStrategy, the guy that owns it is Michael Saylor, right? So I think there are talks about them taking off. I think it was on is it S&P 500 or NASDAQ? But anyhow, it's no good, right? Essentially, that means the buying opportunity from Strategy will reduce, right? Okay, so although what we're seeing on the ETF, it was actually a positive inflow yesterday's ETF around 230 million, right? However, the anticipation, I kind of anticipate, or well, my speculation would be there will be less and less people willing to buy in, right? So to that extent, right, don't let the hopium, right, keeps you continuously buying, right? And these are time that you don't want to FOMO in or FOMO out, right? So these are time I've spoke to you before. These are time that I've stopped selling, right? Because it kind of gone down to a threshold that I kind of felt I've taken enough lifestyle chips, right? And then I'm not gonna be selling anymore. Although in my original plan there was this little bag, that swing bag that I need to sell, that I was aiming to sell all, but we dropped down far enough that I kind of felt maybe let's not sell, maybe let's just wait. Maybe Tom Lee is right this time around, that the sell pressure might stop, so he's given us about approximately 2 weeks, right? So maybe let's not sell yet, right? But at the same time, I personally will not enter, right? Unless you kind of have a pound cost average strategy in place that you kind of enter or kind of buy on a daily basis, right? Good for you, right? You should keep doing that, right? However, for this kind of instance, I would say hold your cash, liquidate as much as possible. As soon, okay, we don't talk about altcoins or other shit coins in this channel. However, I do hold a small bag, right? So for that instance, I'll try to get rid of that and move them into Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin is the big daddy of cryptocurrency, right? So that's something you guys should all aim to keep as much as possible. Okay, so yeah, I think there will be a lot more sell pressure that comes when US market opens on Monday, right? When the talks about strategy being knocked off from I think it was Nasdaq or S&P 500. So that's not good. That's not good news. But there are also a lot of other bad news that are hovering from a macro perspective that all of us needs to be aware of, right? I think AI bubble, it's getting bigger, the bubble, right? I think OpenAI, they are constantly looking for bailout, right, from the government, right? Put it this way, if OpenAI goes down, right, a lot of AI company goes down with it, okay? So personally, I also hold a bag of Tesla shares. From fundamental perspective, I think Tesla is still very strong. But at the same time, I've stopped buying, right? I've stopped accumulating Teslas because all of this uncertainty from an AI perspective, right? Although, previously, I think NVIDIA had such a great performance for recent quarter announcement. As you can see, the next day, all of their shares, all of Nasdaq, S&P 500, all share prices drop, right? So it is not all due to NVIDIA, where people, buy the rumor and sell the news, right? It is another cause, which essentially is the private banking market, right? So I think there was some pretty negative announcement, and the Feds were also recognizing that side could potentially impose a situation very, very similar to last time the Lehman Brothers collapse, right? So have a little dig through. So that's why it caused a lot of sell off. Thursday and Friday. Okay, so I kind of anticipate more pain coming up for Bitcoin and crypto. So now is not the time. I mean, unless you've made such a great gain for the past couple of years, I think take some lifestyle chips, sell off, and be prepared for the next best entry into the next cycle. I think that makes sense, right? If you've kind of entered at 100,000 or 118,000 Bitcoin, I've got some friends who bought in at 118,000, right? I strongly suggest just HODL and just continue to pound cost average and bring down your average, right? And the time to enter, it's probably not now, right? The time to enter will probably be next year, okay? So yeah, I think that's what I want to talk about. Yes. So don't let the hopium. There are a lot of influencers on social media continuously still highlighting the fact that the stimulus check are coming. Yes, it is coming, but it's not going to come anytime soon, right? Bitcoin is not going to rebound back to 100,000 anytime soon, right? The relief rallies not going to be here anytime soon, right? So I'm still hoping for relief rally so that I can rotate out a little bit more, stack cash, right? But more importantly, now that all of you guys need to think about is the next opportunity for at the beginning of the next cycle, which isn't that far away, right? So treat this as a reminder. Start stacking your cash. Make sure you don't start to use your cash onto something else. Lock in some cash somewhere and be fluid so that you can re-enter Bitcoin later on next year. And that's not that far away. I think it's less than a year away or about a year away, okay? So that would be a small little advice from myself, and I do hope that you guys get it, right? Because out of that many investment, right, Bitcoin certainly gives me the opportunity to have more exponential growth that really helped me to pay off a lot of other things like my properties and so forth, right? So very likely a lot of the gains that I've got from Bitcoin, I'm going to pay off my properties so that I can generate more monthly cash flow income. Essentially, I'm using more of that to get back into Bitcoin. That's what I'm going to do, right? And I'm not hype out for Teslas. Well, I've got bags of Teslas. So Tesla, I'm still only buying a little bit at every small dips. But at the same time, I do see that the bear market might be coming, right? So I can't obviously afford to go all in and buy Tesla, right? So I'm still in the accumulation period, okay? So from that perspective, the best way is I'll nibble here, nibble there every time when I get the opportunity and to buy low, right? And not go lump sum in, okay? So be a savvy investor. Do more pound cost average. I think that's the best way to approach a lot of such assets at this uncertainty period, and stack up cash. I know stacking up cash is not great. However, I think it's such a good opportunity to stack up cash now because we will have a good opportunity to re-enter towards end of next year. Okay, so thanks for watching my video. Oh, and one last thing. So the author for Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, Japanese dude. I think I got into a lot of property investment because I read his book too. So he is also out completely on Bitcoin. I think he bought his Bitcoin at around $6,000 and he exited it at around $90,000. So well done to Robert Kiyosaki, the author for Rich Dad Poor Dad, and what he mentioned was, I think he is reinvesting some of that into his real estate investment, some billboard investment or whatever, right? So check that out too. Okay, so that's it from what I want to share. Thanks for watching my video. Please drop a like, hit subscribe. I'm sorry, it's still pretty negative at this stage, but don't get beaten up, right? It will get better, right? Treat this opportunity as a lesson, right? But do not get out of the market. So this is my third cycle, right? I gotten out immediately on the first cycle, which I regretted, right? And on the second cycle, I never actually know what the hell is going on, right? So I was quite gutted. I didn't do quite well or good enough on my second cycle, but I did a lot better on my third cycle. And I just want to be here on my compound life to advise, right? So I'm not a top-notch trader or investor, but I did it. And I think you guys, any one of you guys can do it too, right? So yeah, that's the purpose of my compound life, specifically for this Bitcoin section. So that's it today. Drop a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, have a good weekend. It's a terrible weather in Birmingham today, and I think I'm not gonna go to the Christmas market tonight. Okay, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.